happens to the bullies that we went to school with when they grow up? Well, they become our colleagues that we have to work with, or leadership that we have to work under. Hi, my name is Jeanetta Garrison. I'm a licensed therapist. My specialty is helping high achievers and perfectionists learn to calm their brain and body so they can have fulfilling lives without anxiety getting in the way. For the month of May, I am doing a series of live streams in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. In today's live stream, we will be discussing thriving among difficult colleagues, what to do when you have difficult colleagues. But before we jump into the video, quick bit of housekeeping. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. That way you will know exactly when I go live. Also, be sure to go ahead and just give this video a like if you like it. That helps me to know if the information that I'm putting out is helpful, if you find it helpful, if you found it valuable. It also helps to get more eyes on it with the YouTube algorithm, whatever that means. But, basically it helps to get this video in front of more people. It helps to grow my channel. But the main thing, like I said, it helps me to know that the information I'm putting out there is actually helpful and beneficial, which is my ultimate goal. So you can give this video a like if you like it. And be sure to leave a comment in the comment section. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Also, really quick, if you notice up in this corner here, there is a QR code that says scan me. Got my Vanna White going. Okay. So if you scan that QR code, it will take you to my website, which is crowncounselingandconsulting.com. If you go to that, if you go to my website and click on the banner at the top of the website, there is it'll take you to download my free anxiety relief checklist. I've created a checklist of 10 practical, real life, practical, evidence-based tips that you can start using today that will help you calm your mind and your body. There, you'll see a list of the tips, and each tip also has a brief companion video to further explain the tip. So, back to the topic. Today, we will be discussing thriving among difficult colleagues. So there are tons of different reasons as to why a person may be a difficult colleague. Sometimes people have no idea, they're oblivious to the impact of their words and their behaviors. They're oblivious to how that's landing with people. That's one reason why this may be happening. Another reason could be, as I mentioned at the top of the video, is perhaps this is how they have been throughout their lives. They're a bully. That's a real thing. They're a bully. They're just mean. And they grow up and they have to work, right? Earn a living, earn income, and you find yourself working with this person. Another potential reason as to why someone may be a difficult colleague is there may be a history of some underlying mental health concern, perhaps trauma, perhaps anxiety, perhaps whatever it is, right? There may be an underlying mental health concern that is not being addressed, and it is manifesting in the way that they interact with folks in the workplace, maybe even interact with folks outside of the workplace. And instead of that person addressing the underlying root cause of what's happening, they're directing it outward. Instead of doing that internal reflection, they're directing all of their this negative behavior out on the outside. Another reason why people may be difficult colleagues or difficult display difficult behaviors in the workplace is it could be cultural. We live in a global world where you may find yourself working with people or collaborating with people who are from all over the globe. And it could be a matter of just differences in culture interaction and differences in like norms, so to speak, of how people interact with one another. And so it's coming up as maybe something that's unpleasant. And that person could be completely oblivious to it because based on their culture, this is just how we are, right? Another way that culture that we can talk about culture. So culture is behavior is what we do, culture is how we do it. Okay, behavior is what we do, culture is how we do it. So culture could be in reference to the culture of the workplace, the office culture, right? So these are all several just underlying factors as to why a person may be a difficult employee, right? I don't know why I did air quotes, because if someone's difficult, well, okay, tangent. Focus, Jeanetta. Um, but the brunt of today's video, the meat of today's video, so to speak, is what to do. What to do when you find yourself in a workplace with someone who is a difficult colleague. Well, and we'll cover several different tips. There, of course, generally broad speaking, there are lots of different ways to handle these scenarios. I can't cover all the ways in a video. That's just not possible. So I will cover a few ways. Okay. So the first strategy is to let someone know what's going on. Couple of things that this does. One, it allows you to share your truth, to verbalize the truth of your experience in the workplace by letting someone know what is going on. It also eliminates secrecy. So oftentimes people who, when you find yourself dealing with a difficult colleague, you may say to yourself, the person on the receiving end of their treatment, is I don't want to rock the boat, or I don't want to make things worse, or, things like that. And so then there's this secrecy, the burden of carrying the secrecy of their behavior, the secrecy of how you're being impacted by it. So, my suggestion is let someone know what's going on, right? So, and even to take it a little bit further than that is let decision makers know what's going on. Let decision makers know what's going on. People who have decision making power, who can back you and stand in your corner or make changes that may need to be made, or have conversations or one-on-ones with that person, or whatever the case may be. But the main thing is let someone know what's going on. You don't have to carry this burden all by yourself. It also holds this person accountable for their behavior. Oftentimes people who are, who exhibit difficult behaviors, who are rude, who have been bullies, no one ever holds them accountable, or people are quiet around them, or they shrink around them. And sometimes people can misinterpret quiet for being complicit. And even if you're not intending, you're not being complicit, you're not okay with what's happening, they're interpreting it that way, but again, at the end of the day, you have every right to speak up for yourself and voice your truth. You are your most powerful advocate. So let someone know what is going on. Second tip that we're going to discuss is boundaries. Boundaries are necessary. Boundaries are so necessary. You must have strong boundaries with these folks. You have to be very clear We can't do dropping hints. We can't do beating around the bush. We have to have very clear, assertive, direct communication. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And let say when something is not okay. You know, you don't have to shrink yourself, have boundaries. And a little bit of tangent maybe, we're talking about difficult employees. Difficult may not always mean someone who is like blatantly rude, disrespectful, things like that. Difficult could also mean, say for example, someone who stirs the pot, or someone who maybe they're a gossiper or things like that, or they have just like this negative energy around them, and everything that flies out of their mouth is something negative, a complaint. And really, that's just bringing down the energy. It's not productive, it's bringing down the vibe. And so you can have boundaries with that person as well, as far as the boundaries around your time, when it comes to like making yourself available to that person. If you find yourself you have found yourself in a conversation with this person that you don't want to be in a conversation with, you can limit the conversation, right? Or just like say that, okay, all right, I have to go back, get back to work, or things like that. But basically, boundaries is super, super important. Also, going back to the difficult colleagues disrupt the vibe. Difficult colleagues impede the formation of trust in the workplace, and trust is a necessary component for psychological safety in the workplace. So if this is something that is happening, you can start to feel it permeating. The energy is permeating throughout the team, throughout the department, throughout the company, right? So as an organization, it may be a good idea to consider getting outside support from an expert. Like bring in a third party, a neutral third party, an expert to come in and assess and figure out a game plan for shifting this tide, right? This could be something that is really, really helpful, because sometimes people may get so caught in just like the day to day of getting the work stuff done, that they have lost the bigger picture of, okay, this behavior that we're seeing, this pattern that we're seeing, is really detracting from the overall mission, the overall values of the company. And it could be a really great idea to bring in a third party and an outside expert into the company to assess this, and like I said, make some changes, assist with making recommendations for changes. So this is actually something that I do as a therapist, as a licensed therapist. I'm in the business of peopling, and whether it's working, helping with people one-on-one, also on the sort of larger scale of group, right? So companies, things like that. So essentially, a therapist basically is, the therapist can partner with the company to help retain your top talent. Like, let's look at these policies over here. What's happening with the policies? What's happening with the work culture? How is that impacting what's happening within the company? Is that fueling? Is that adding fuel to the fire for the difficult employees? Or like, let's, kind of what's going on there. I read a statistic that said only 1 in 10 employees leave a job because of money. Only 1 in 10. So that means that the other 90% of employees who leave their job, it's because of other reasons that are not money, not finances or salary. And sometimes those reasons could be their sense of safety, their sense of psychological safety. It could be because of the work culture. the attitudes, not feeling valued. Like there are all these different reasons why a person may choose to separate from a company. But I just found that really interesting that only 1 in 10 employees leave because of money. I don't know. Have you heard of that before? Let me know in the comments if you've heard that statistic before, and share some of the reasons that some of the other reasons that you think people separate from jobs that have nothing to do with the salary. Um, so again, it could be a great idea to bring in an outside expert. This issue didn't become an issue overnight, and it won't reverse itself overnight. Um, but there is hope. There is hope for it to change. So think about, this is a question that I'll leave you with. What will be different about your organization if all of the top talent resigned? What will be different about the organization if all of the top talent resigned? It would probably be very, very, very different. So even that, thinking about that reality would be a great reason to actually deal with the issue of difficult employees, because it's not going to just go away on its own. It's really not. So that's all that we have for today. If you have any questions or stories, I love stories. Please drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to respond to you. Also, be sure to check out the other videos in this Mental Health Month live stream series. I've done a few videos and they will all be connected in a playlist that I created for Mental Health Month. So again, be sure to give this video a like if you like it, if you've learned anything today. Also, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you will be the first to know when I start a live stream. And you can learn more about me and the work that I do and how I help folks by visiting my website, crowncounselingandconsulting.com, or by scanning the QR code. Where is it? Here. Scanning the QR code there. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.